So today we will talk about the data types in R. So before jumping to creating data types in R, let's talk about using this picture. So there are basically five data types, basic data types. So the first one is called a vector. Okay, so the first one is called a vector. So you can see that there is only one. So if you see this square box, you can regard it as one position, that it holds one value. Okay, now it has three cells. That means that this vector can hold three values. Okay, so value 1, value 2, and value 3. Okay, so vectors, these three cells, they should be the same type. So vector can be number, vector can be text, vector can be anything, but it should be the same for all values. Now if you combine the two vectors, whether it is vertically or whether it is horizontally, you have a matrix. Okay, so you have row, now you have column. You can combine either by row or by columns. Okay, by row or by columns. So it has two dimensions, rows and columns. So these kind of data types is called a matrix. So basically matrix is similar to vector, that it can only have the same type. Either it can be numeric for all cells, or it can be text for everything. Okay, now if you just combine many matrices, so you have these multidimensional data type. This data type is called array. Array is also similar to this vector and matrix, that it should have the same data type for all the cells. Okay, now moving to the data frame. So it is called a table, like a spreadsheet is a Microsoft Excel. So where you have rows and columns, each rows represent an observation. Now each column represent a variables. So each variable, each column can have same data type, but for the data frame, it can either have it can be a mixture of data types, like numbers, characters, whatever. Okay, so these are called data frames. Data frames are usually two-dimensional. The difference between matrix and data frame is that matrix can only have the same data type for all the cells, but in data frame, for each column you can have different types of data, including numbers and characters. So let's say that if you want to combine all these things, okay, vector, matrix, array, and include in one object, you can create that by you can create it by using links, where you can have vectors, or you can have array or matrix, whatever. So these are the five basic data types in R. So let's come back to vector. So let's say that if you only have one cell, then it is called a scalar, but basically it is called a vector. So that's it. Thank you.